would I do if you were to take everything away that I had, all my businesses and investments, leaving me with just my brain, my smartphone, laptop, and an internet connection? No initial idea, no business funding, no outside help, literally from scratch, and I've got to get to 10K a month in under a year. In January of 2024, this business right here hit 10K a month, and in the last 30 days, we've made over £35,000 a month. So this isn't my first time doing this either. I've taken multiple startups from idea to hundreds of thousands of pounds a month in revenue, and from zero to multi-million pounds in revenue in my hospitality business days. 10K is just like this mysterious number that every person online says they want to hit. So I'm going to build this video around that. The last kicker here, I'm only allowed to actually spend 10 hours a week on this business to show you guys that you can build a business like this in your spare time that replaces your 9-to-5 income. Now, this video is a raw, let's build it together type workshop, a full step-by-step guide on how I would get started today with nothing. I want to leave you with tons of actionable things that you can implement right away. And I literally think this video will not only be life-changing for you, but can continue to create value for you as long as you're growing your businesses. You can drop back in at key points and at any time and put these things into action. So take notes, drop me comments with your questions, and let's get into it. In this workshop, we're going to run through how I would scale a brand new online business to a minimum of 10 grand a month in under a year from scratch with just 10 hours a week. So I'm only allowed to spend 10 hours a week on it, and it's more than possible. And I'm going to show you how it can be done. But first off, who am I? I'm an award-winning content creator, Money Content Creator of the Year at the British Banking Awards recently. I've got over 100 million views on social media, 150,000 followers, got 30,000 on an online community, and I've been featured in the papers talking about debt, saving money, starting online businesses, investing, all of that jazz. But look, this wasn't always the case. I was actually deep in debt in my mid-20s, and I was working a well-paid job that left me kind of feeling creatively stifled and unfulfilled. I was a head of marketing for a hospitality business. I was making lots of other people lots of money, but not my own. And I tried various side hustles from the age of 18, selling clothes, drop shipping, trading, all of that type of jazz. But everything was super high effort and required like some mad degree, basically. But I was in this debt, and I went to Vietnam, paid for with a credit card, and I had this epiphany moment on the beach with a friend. He asked me a question that would change my life. He basically said to me, when do you want to die? And I said, well, that's a weird question. Well, what about, I'd like to live till 80. And he said, well, when do you want to retire? And I said, 50 would be nice. I don't really want to work longer than 50. He said, how much do you spend a year? And I said, 30, 40,000, let's say. And he said, well, times that 30, 40,000 by 30 years. Do you have that amount? And that's when my life changed. When I come back home and my rent was due, it was my last month as well. And I paid that last month, and I had to move out of that flat. And because I was so deep in debt, I didn't have any credit. And I couldn't actually do anything. I couldn't get another house because in the UK, you need decent credit score to be able to get a rented house. So I hit rock bottom. I had to move back in with my mum, mid to late 20s. That's not what you want to be doing, right? And I basically I could have gone either way, right? It could have gone wrong for me, but I went hard on learning about debt reduction, assets, and online business. And I read JD Ross, How to Retire Early and Achieve Financial Independence, which changed everything for me. In 24 grand in debt was cleared in 18 months using strategic strategies. I launched a bunch of side hustle businesses, some of which are still going to this day. I have a trainer reselling business. I went in and I cleared that debt as fast as I possibly could. When this was all happening, I was obviously learning about money. I went into business with some friends, and we built a multi-million pound hospitality group from scratch. But I really did feel like there was something more out there for me. And I was helping others learn about money, and this kind of sparked an idea off in my head. And I founded Up the Gains during 2020 to kind of combine marketing skills with, the financial knowledge I was picking up over those 2-3 years. I noticed that there was a gap in the market, essentially, and I loved building things from scratch. But the potential of growing online businesses that people actually enjoy in the UK, there's over 86% of people hate their jobs right now. And that's something that we need to solve. And so by solving other people's issues, I grew my website to over 150,000 visitors a month, and my social media from 5K to 110K in 3 months. My revenue went from around about £6,000 or £7,000 on the business before I went full time on it. And now last month we just hit a 35K month. And now I'm teaching others how to do the same. We've got over 350 students learning how to start their own businesses. So how would I do it? How would I actually do this with only 10 hours a week, right? I've got to create this business and I've got to run it and I've got to get to 10 grand a month in revenue. So first up, you need to identify your niche. You need to identify what your purpose is in life. And a really great way of doing this is Ikigai, which is a Japanese technique. And it's essentially what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you could be paid for. And the 4 circles, they interconnect with your passions, your mission in life, your vocation, and your profession, leaving you with a purpose. Now, if you don't use this for creating a business, you can use this for your own life and what career you want to go into. But we're starting a business today. We're starting a business. So we want to try and find out by the end of it, and it will take you about an afternoon to go through this, but I've gone through it and created my Ikigai. So you can see how this works. So you start off with what you like and you make a list of everything that you like. So football, entrepreneurship, history, 90s hip hop, archaeology, cooking, strategy games. I love a bit of 90s hip hop. I love my history and archaeology. And basically you make a list of everything you like. Some people's lists are a lot bigger than this, and really you should just kind of drill down to absolutely everything you like. You don't know what you're going to find when you go through this. And then you list out what skills you have. So I've put public speaking, editing, branding, SEO, cooking, sales, and writing. These are my skills, but when you do it, you do your own skills. And then what you look to do is you go through single thing that you like. So football, you go through public speaking, editing, branding, where in this matches up, and you start looking for patterns. So let's take cooking, for example, public speaking. Okay, cool. I could make videos about me cooking because I might speak on camera. Then I could use editing to use that then. And I could create a brand around cooking. Okay, cool. Could I create a website around cooking? Yeah, I like cooking. Cooking matches up, right? So you're seeing what you're doing here. You're looking for areas and spaces that you can go into within these things. So I'm going to take entrepreneurship forward today because it matches up all of these really, really well. Now, then you need to look about what the world needs based on the thing that you like and the idea and the area that you've got to out of this exercise. So when it comes to entrepreneurship and building a business around that, people are looking for community. They're looking for help to grow income. They want to learn how to launch businesses. They want the systems to grow those businesses. They need marketing support and help. Not everybody understands marketing, which is like a big, big thing to be able to drive and keep your business moving forward. You need to learn growth strategies, how you're going to actually grow your business, what products you're going to sell. You need to come up with the branding for that. So this is there's a lot out there what people need when they start businesses, and entrepreneurship's a big, big niche. So we're going to try and look to bring this down as such. So we look at what we can be paid for. So developing a paid community here. This could be a really cool thing which matches up what the needs here. Paid newsletter, which we could discuss some of these things here. We could offer social media support. We could offer business courses on how to start a business and everything you need to know and go through, which you're kind of doing with me today. This is a free version of that. So you could offer marketing support, which could, be an agency, or you could offer services to these entrepreneurs to help them grow. And that could be your whole agency that you offer these services to. We could offer growth strategies. Obviously, there's some things here that are starting to be on both lists. So we're starting to see patterns here, and branding help is definitely sitting on both lists here, because we could be paid for both of these things and the world needs it. This is a really good sign. And then from this, as we're working through Ikigai, we want to try to come out with at least one sentence. Ideally, I help blank do blank. That's a really, you should be able to nail and say that. And that should be your mantra for your business. So me is I help new and budding entrepreneurs quit their 9-to-5 and launch businesses that they love. I help blank do blank. Now we've got our Ikigai absolutely nailed in. We can start to actually think about how we're going to formulate our business. So next up, we actually need the who, what, and how. Because without the who, what, and how, this is where most businesses go wrong. And they don't do this bit up front. And this is the most important bit. If you get your potential customer right, then everything becomes easy. All of the content that you create, all of the products that you make, all the services that you offer, you know who your customer is and you know their pain points. So I've got make or die nailed down. I need to know the ins and outs of my potential customer. So who's my segments here? There might be aspiring entrepreneurs. There might be small business owners just struggling to get to the next level. Could be freelancers looking to move out of freelancing and make their thing their own business. Could be side hustlers, which are looking to, that perhaps have been growing their revenue and are now ready to take it into a business. Could be corporate professionals looking to transition. So they've got a bunch of skills and now they want to go and start a business around that. So these are the things that I'm identifying that could be people that want my help, or want your help in your business. So we then need to define the demographics of our people. So for each customer segment, I would go through each of these and I would then make their age. What age range are they predominantly in? Are they predominantly male or female or a mix? Where are they from? Are they in your country? Are they international? Are they worldwide? Are they just based in Newquay in Cornwall? Like, you need to go through and understand all of these things. It's very, very important that you do that. What's their income range? Highly important. If they're all on minimum wage, it's probably not the best business idea, right? So you need to think about that. You'll want to try and obviously, the higher paid these individuals are, the more you're likely to get paid for it. So do think about that too. What education are they from? What kind of backgrounds do they have? Not so important as much anymore, but still, if you think about the person, where they've come from, would they start to move on to step 3, which is how do they think? So we need to understand their attitude, their aspirations, the psychological criteria of your ideal customers. What do they do? What do they do on a daily basis? What do they like? Football, strategy games, cooking. I'm using some of my examples again, but think about this, their interests and their hobbies. What do they stand for? What do they value most in life and their work? And what kind of life are they leading? What kind of goals do they have, both careers and personals? Like, you're seeing, we're starting to actually build a real person here. And this will allow us to then start to identify probably the most important bit of this, which is their pain points, because that's how you're going to create a business. Your business and your services should be solving a pain point and an issue for someone. So we're going to identify the challenges and the pain points of your ideal customer. So what are they struggling with about launching and growing their business? Their lack of marketing strategies, their difficulty in branding that they might face. What are the personal challenges that they're facing? So are they balancing work and personal life? Are they putting way too much time in their business because they haven't got the right systems in place to allow them to move away from that? Are they hiring the right teams? All of these things, you see how I'm thinking now? This is how you unpack the psyche of that human being. And do they feel stuck in a 9-to-5 job? This could be another one as well. These are all things that we're thinking about based on the segments that we identified in step 1. And where is the skills gap that they have? So, could that be on content marketing? Could it be on SEO? Could it be writing? Obviously, this is very focused on my business, but when you put this into action, you can utilize this framework for your own businesses. I'm just giving you a live example here. So step number 5 is define their needs and desires. So we want to kind of find out where they want to be. So we had a little think about this earlier, but now we're utilizing it in a much more holistic view. We kind of want to look at the services and the outcomes that they'd be looking to get. So obviously increased income is around entrepreneurship, business growth. They want to successfully launch their business. They want to improve their marketing strategies. They want to save on costs. These are all types of things that we can offer them to essentially do that. Then once you've got all of this down, you start to create an actual detailed avatar for your customers. So this is so important. I go so deep on this and it might feel weird doing this. So here's an example here for you. So putting all of these things together, meet Sarah, the aspiring entrepreneur. She's 28 years old. She lives in London. She's on 40 to 50 grand. She likes food, branding, socializing with friends. She values independence, creativity, believes in continuous learning. Works a 9-to-5 job, but wants to start her own business, wants to quit her job and launch a successful online business. So these are her pain points: feeling stuck in her job, lacks the marketing knowledge, needs the support and drive and accountability to launch her business. She wants to do business courses and she wants a bit of a community around her and some growth strategies to help her. Suddenly we've got our ideal customer. And from this, everything will stem from that we do. Okay, so that's really, really important. Then we're going to move into phase 2. So phase 2 is really good fun. And this is our route to market. We need to understand how we're going to go and help these people. Now we've identified Sarah as our target. How are we going to go and reach her? So choosing the driver. we need to ask ourselves these questions first. What kind of transferable skills do I have? What am I willing to skill on? And how much time do I have? This is massively important. Now, obviously we've got 10 hours, but you might have less and you might have more. And understanding, basically build your ideal week. What does that look like? And then give yourself a bit of contingency in that. So if, let's say, for example, with 10 hours, I can do 10 hours and that's like 90 minutes in the mornings, bit of time on the weekends, for example, outside of my 9 to 5 to build this business. Well, I might go, okay, I'm going to knock off and I'm going to say eight hours because life happens, right? You might pop out one night, you might have kids and they wake up too early that day and you can't put the time in that you want to, or you only got lunch break today and it's half an hour, for example. So give yourself a little bit of leeway here, but make sure you do a time and your ideal week and build out what that might look like. So you can know exactly how much time you can put into your business from day one, because it allows you to map out the growth of it a lot easier. And we'll go on to some of the channels as well. What do you actually like? This is hugely important. If you can't stand TikTok, then we don't want to build our business on TikTok, right? If you're on Instagram over TikTok, then we know that about ourselves already, right? If you don't like getting on camera at all, then we need to think about ways and channels which perhaps suit us more. And then what platform are you spending the most time on at the moment? Is that Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Twitter? Ask yourself these questions. And what's the fastest way to monetization? Now, we're going to go through this in a second, but that's a big one because in this case, we've only got a year, right? We've only got a year to actually build this 10K a month business. So let's have a look at some channels. So building a website is a tough one. It's a tough one because you're going to need at least 30 to 40 hours a week to actually build it. When I was building the website for Up the Gains as an example here, I was getting up at 5 a.m. and I was going to do my hospitality business as a director at 9 o'clock. I was getting on the train at 9:20, going into London, working till 6, coming back, then working again on the website for another 3-4 hours. So 8-hour days plus 8-hour days. It absolutely destroyed me. So if you're thinking you're going to go and build a website from scratch that's targeting, SEO and ranking on Google, you're going to struggle if you've only got 10 hours a week. So just bear that in mind. The skills that you're going to need to have are SEO, copywriting, web design, graphics, branding. These are all skills. If you don't have these, you're going to have to upskill on. So are you willing to upskill on these? These are questions you have to ask yourself. But the revenue from websites is amazing if you can get them going. So this is where you can, do the 7-figure businesses with websites. And you could sell products on your website, digital products, physical products. You can do affiliates. You can have ad revenue as well. Should have added that on there. But it is hard. It is very, very hard. Now, moving on to podcasts, it only requires really 2 to 3 hours per episode a week. You need to learn a little bit about editing, audio, video editing if you're adding a video podcast to the mix here. But revenues are sponsorship ads, affiliates, and your own products, because you can, do your own voiceover ads, for example, and put links in the descriptions of the podcast episodes and send them to places. It's pretty easy to do a podcast. Start with audio if you don't want to jump on camera and then jump into video, but it's pretty easy to start a podcast. And I do believe most people should have their own show if they've got their own business. It's a big part of what I do. And you can start to build a lot of community and a lot of trust with people. And it really does help. YouTube channels. Now, a minimum time required for this is around about 10 hours a week. You're going to need to learn initially, but you're going to need to learn filming, editing, script writing, audio, lighting. These are all really good fun things to learn, by the way, but it does require stages of leveling yourself up. Thankfully, YouTube is like a course of its own. So you can pretty much learn everything. Funny that you're watching this video on it right now, learning how to scale a business to 10K a month. So it's amazing for that. And if you can once you get your channel going, it does take a while to grow a channel. It just does. I've grown multiple channels and, 18 months to really, really get going. So that's something we got to factor in here. As the same with the website, about 18 months is before you really get going. Same with the podcast, about 18 months, which is not ideal. So actually let's mark these off. Really, we can't be doing that because we've only got 10 hours a week. We can't be doing podcast yet, but we might want to factor that in there. Okay, so let's have a think about that. That's my question mark there. YouTube's a no-go for us just simply because it just takes up all of our 10 hours a week. It's not ideal. But Instagram and TikTok is an interesting one because I've actually put a ring around it because it takes about 6 to 9 hours a week. You can even get this a lot lower as well if you are doing sort of the easier style content creation. And you only really need your smartphone and an editing app like CapCut or DaVinci Resolve, which is free. Learn a little bit about graphics, but it's actually pretty easy to do, right? YouTube channel, it's pretty difficult to medium, to get going, medium hard. We want something that's easy, that's going to pay off. So Instagram and TikTok's a big yes for us. We want to look at that because we can start to sell sponsorship brand deals, but the big ones are affiliates and digital products, which we're going to go into in more detail in a bit because they are enormous. And this is really, for me, is easy to medium to get going. Once you crack the code, which we're going to go through today, so you're lucky, it's not as hard as people think it is. And the simplicity of content these days that you can make money from is nuts. I put LinkedIn and Twitter down here because if you're really not okay with going on camera, that's fine. You don't even need to when you're creating content, but some people just, what do you like? LinkedIn and Twitter could be a bit more for you than Instagram and TikTok. You can still grow a business on LinkedIn and Twitter. It's a little bit harder to do these two to make a business that grows to 10K, but it's a brilliant channel to run. But for us today, I'm going to say no. Now, a newsletter is, I think, essential to most online businesses if you're selling products or looking to sell affiliates. Minimum time required is 2 to 3 hours a week. So that's kind of fitting nicely in with our Instagram and TikTok here. We could probably make it happen with the 10 hours that we've got. So that's a really big deal for us. And I'm going to be looking here at this quite heavily. 2 to 3 hours a week to knock out 1 or 2 newsletters a week is pretty doable, right? And we kind of only really need to upskill in copywriting. We use a platform like ConvertKit or MailerLite, so we keep our costs down, which you don't pay for the first 1,000 subs. Not bad. So we can obviously sell sponsorship once we grow the newsletter to a certain size. People are going to want to advertise in our newsletters. We can sell affiliates. We can sell our own digital products. We can sell our own physical products too. I say medium hard because it's not, copywriting's a skill and selling's an art, and it does take a little bit of a time to get used to, but it's amazing once you get it going and you own this audience, right? All of these, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, are rented audiences. So Mark Zuckerberg owns that, Microsoft owns that, Elon owns Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. TikTok's owned by ByteDance. You don't own your audiences. On newsletter, you can export the mailing list that you have and you own it. You can take it any platform you like. It's your email list. So this is why it's a massive tick for us. And that's what we're going to be running with today. So last one I put here is agency. Now, this requires a lot of time. Now, a lot of people say we'll run part-time agencies. And for me, that's just a freelance business. Really. An agency is hardcore. You have client management, communications, leadership, HR, accounts. You're dealing with people, dealing with clients who are an absolute ball ache. By the way, I hate clients. I cannot do clients. I will never, ever do clients. And it's just not like how I like to work. I like students that we can teach. But working with brands on contracts, man, it's tough out here. And so I'm going to say no because we've got 10 hours, right? We've got 10 hours and we're building to 10K a month. So for argument's sake, I'm going to spend the 10 hours a week on my new business idea. I'm going to aim to replace my income in 4 to 6 months. And then I'm going to scale up to full-time hours post this. So my strategy here is going to be Instagram and TikTok and a newsletter. So we've discussed that here. And why? Because Instagram and TikTok actually allows for rapid growth. We didn't touch on this, and the ability to sell on and off platform. And newsletters are also a fantastic way to build your own tribe, and we own our audience, and we can grow our subscriber base using Instagram and TikTok. So they kind of all sing together. You can send them off to that platform and they connect together, sending people back round in our little ecosystem that we're going to create. Now, we need to build our brand at this point, because we've only got 10 hours. We want to move fast. We don't want to spend too much time and money at this point. And that's just foolish. We want a basic color palette, some fonts, a basic logo, which you can do on Canva. You don't need to take your time with it, as branding can always be changed. We're looking to scale socials and a newsletter here. We're not creating the new Coca-Cola, which is sitting on the shelves. We want it to be cool. We want it to be fast. We want it to be nimble. Just use templates on Canva. Spend no more than 2 to 3 hours at this point. We now need to kick into gear. We're launching our business here. So we're going for Instagram and TikTok. And the reason why is Instagram and TikTok, as for going back to the rapid growth, we can, if we put enough content out, we can grow our channels from 0, like I did, 0 to 100 plus K followers, and revenue will come with that when you do that. As long as we're targeting, remember, the right people. So we don't want to lose that bit there. Okay. So next up, we need to look at the traffic. So we've chosen Instagram and TikTok, but without traffic, there is no offer. Without an offer, there is no sales. And without any sales, there's no business. Business works like this: traffic, offer, sales. We're happy with the money coming in. And without any sales, there is no business, and we fail, right? So we need traffic and we need attention. So we're building out our social media strategy here. So we need to move quickly. We're going to set up a dummy account, an Instagram account. This kind of phase, this first month is what it's going to look like. So we're in month 1 right now. We need to go into research phase. We've identified our idea. We've identified our target customer. And this is all part of kind of the same thing, really. We need to kind of get all of this bit right. So we set up a dummy Instagram and TikTok account, and we start to follow only the creators that are in our space or your space. And we spend 15 minutes a day on these accounts, kind of liking, commenting, and engaging with these. We're not liking, our mums and our friends and our mates. This is just your own research account. And we make a list of all the high performing videos and creators, get ourselves a little Excel spreadsheet. And we also use things like Reddit and Google Trends and YouTube. And we're looking for things like, what's going on in the space? What's happening? What are people talking about? What problems are they facing? So these are all massively, massively important. We start to make lists of all the different problems that our audience potentially have. And we start to think about ideas and content. Oh, this guy's doing this type of content. This guy's doing this type of content. I could see myself doing this. I can't see myself doing this. So we start to get into the psyche and the mind of a content creator and putting together a real deep and fantastic social media strategy. Anyone can do this, guys. Anyone can do this. This is just you going through, spending a bit of time in the space, right? If we just liken it to that. Okay. So what I would do is I'd find all the top creators, as I said. So for me, it's Matt Gray, Russell Brunson, Neiman Ghazi. How are they positioning themselves? What are they doing? Where are the gaps? Where could I fit in here? This is all really, really important stuff. Now, step number 2, we want to kind of get our channel ready. Now we've got to pick a catchy username, no punctuation. So some examples here, My Entrepreneur, Founder Club, for example, could be my things here, but you don't want to have the dots or the underscore things here. You want it one word, super easy to pronounce, really simple. Obviously, these are 2 words, but you know what I mean? It needs to connect nicely. And then we want to add some story highlights on our channel. Get some brand highlights and product reviews up there. We want an engaging photo. We want the name and the SEO driven title. So this is exactly my channel at the moment. So you can steal this. And essentially what we do is my name and what I do, financial educator, is Up the Gains Money, is my business. Very simple, no punctuation in it. Very, very, very simple. And then the channel bio is what my business does in 5 or 6 words or less. So I help blank do blank is what you could put in here. I help Britain get financially fit. Bit of social proof. I've been featured in these papers. And what are we doing? So learn how to save, invest, and make money, pointing down at my stand store for people to click on. So this is my store where we're sending people where we have listed our products. Now, what I was saying earlier about story highlights, I have my podcast up there, my products, my reviews, and then about me is massively important. If you start with anything, just start with this, and then you can add these in later as you start to grow. So now we need to actually build out a content strategy, because it's great going to market like with all of this. It's great having set up all of this, but if we don't understand exactly what we're doing and who we're targeting and how we're going to create the content, then we might as well just stop here. So if I had 5 minutes to cut down a tree, I'd spend 3 minutes sharpening the blade. This is the process that we're going through at the moment. Abraham Lincoln said this, and it hits hard, man. So what we do is develop content buckets that target problem topics. Now, it's kind of like topics, right? So content topics, let's say. I call them buckets because they're buckets of content. And a content bucket for entrepreneurship could be how to help someone start a business. Another one could be how to brand your business. So these are the content buckets. They're kind of overall arching topics. And then underneath those, we fill the buckets up with all of the problems that people have around that one subtopic. So you identify these topics and create lots of problems, and they become your pieces of content. It's a lot easier than I'm making it sound. So, for example, let's just say how to start a business. So I could be like how to name your business, how to create a business plan, how to set up my social media, how to set up my mailing list, how to set up a website. So you see that these are all the problems that person's going to have when they're going to start their business. And these become our content ideas that we're going to use later on. Then we need to develop a powerhouse ability to use hooks. So what are the hooks? So if you look at every piece of content which does well, there is usually something which grabs your attention. Now that could be what you're saying. It could be something that's happening in the video. So there's called text-based hooks, audio-based hooks, and visual hooks. And visual hooks is just something really cool happening, or something beautiful, or the framing of the shot looks cool. Like I sit down at a table and I light a candle. That's a visual hook, because people go, oh, that's cool. That looks nice. Right. So that's a visual hook. And when you match that with a text-based hook on screen, which is the problem that person has, you will create an amazing piece of content. So get really good at hooks, 100%. This is going to help you whatever type of business that you create at any point. Then you need to plan out your first 15 to 20 video ideas, and you do that with your content buckets. So I would have a mix of real short form, 7 to 10 second videos and 30-second videos. And I would look to do 4 7 to 10 second videos and 3 hards a week. That's kind of my mantra. So at least one a day. With this, you should be able to do this in under 90 minutes a day. Easy. Like, there shouldn't be a problem for you to deliver that with 90 minutes a day. So you've got to schedule this 90 minutes a day into your calendar, and then start to film your life on iPhone. You don't need to be doing anything else at this point. You don't need expensive cameras, expensive mics. You just need to learn about very basic lighting, audio, and some basic filming techniques, which you can pick up off YouTube in literally a couple of hours. Now, what I would say that will help you out here at this point is I would find the 3 most viral videos in my niche, and I would remake them myself, trying to do exactly what is happening in that video. Now, we're never going to post these, but what this does is it allows you to understand what it takes to make a viral video, and you just become you basically go from being a 0, I suck at editing, to a 4 and a 5, which is a big jump. In just making those 3 videos, you'll learn more in that than doing hours and hours of YouTube tutorials and trying to mess around with it yourself. So go and make 3 videos that have gone viral in your niche. And then when you've done that, you will be a lot better than you would be creating your own videos and trying to figure out this stuff along the way. And then once you've done that, I'd start creating your own content and start messing around. So you need to basically at this point become a trend spotter. Like, what's going on in my space? What's happening? You want to start to post your content. So you want to post a minimum of 1 video a day, back to the 4 shorts of the 7 to 10 second videos, which are literally just you B-roll footage, is literally just like me sitting down at a desk, opening a laptop up. That's B-roll footage. This is why you start to film your life. Just get a little 15, 20 pound tripod from Amazon and we start to film our life. So we just got tons of footage which we can cut in. If you go on my Instagram channel, you'll see that I just utilize lots of different bits of footage and I put them together and I talk over the top and I do little types of content on there. So look, content is going to be the number one driver. This is literally everything that we go through, and we want to try and find out what works and what doesn't work quite quickly. Because when you're starting a channel, no one's going to see your stuff right at the beginning. So don't worry, like just get stuff up there, start looking for outliers. So this video did 500 views because that's highly likely at the beginning. If you've never, especially if you've never done content before, if you've done content before, then get as good as you possibly can in your niche before you start posting. And then if a video's got 500 views and then all of a sudden you get one that does 5,000 views, why? What topic was it on? What did I do? What kind of hook did I use? Where was it? What kind of film or footage did I use? What was the edit like? Start to unpick these things, and then create a very similar video like it. And if that does well, then you can then say, oh, well, that's the reason why it's doing well. People like this type of video from me. So make more of them, because the data is telling you, it's your best friend at this point. Then as you start to grow your channel, so we're posting now, we're getting going. Okay. This is we're probably getting end of month 1. We want to start getting to this point. And this is where essentially at the end of month 1, we're starting to build a little core audience, and we want to try and start to utilize some of those people. We want to try and chat to people within our space. And we want to build a little core audience of 50 to 100 people that will like and interact with every post that we do. And we do that by reaching out to people, replying to comments, building a bit of relationship, almost like door knocking and finding out their problems, getting to know you a little bit more. I jump on a few 15-minute Zoom calls and help a few people out just to kind of build a little bit of a relationship like you would if you were in networking at events, for example. Build those little relationships, and then every post that you'll put up, people will watch it, they'll like it, and this helps with the algorithm and helps you grow. So once you've reached 1,000 followers, I'm going to be ready to launch my first product. So we're going to launch a low ticket product. So a low ticket just simply means like under 100 quid in most cases. And we want to be fast. We want to nimble, and we want to able to bring in some quick revenue because we've got to get to this 10K a month, right? So now we need something to sell. We've figured out traffic. We've built ourselves a plan. We started posting on social media. How are we going to get some money in, right? Most important bit. Okay. So now we're going to dive into products. So physical versus digital. Now, physical products require you to have product development, manufacturing, testing, funding, storage, distribution. Sounds pretty expensive, doesn't it? Basically, you're going to need a truckload of money, truckload of time, and space. We got 10 hours a week. So we're not going to be doing physical products. We're not even going to be baking cakes at this point because there's no way that we're going to be able to deliver a business and bake cakes. So physical products, even as low as that, as low input as that, like we're not creating like a brand new light or an innovative new TV. These are time consuming products. We want to get to 10K a month in under a year with only 10 hours. We cannot be consuming with physical products. And lastly, the margins suck. They absolutely suck. You'd be so lucky if you get 30%. So lucky. You'd be doing well if you get 30%. We can't be dealing with that. We don't want to sell something for 100 quid and we only get 30 of it. Or the retailer sells it for 100 quid because we've sold it to the retailer and we only get 30 quid of it. That's not ideal. So digital products are where we need to go. And the reason being is extremely low startup costs. You can utilize things like Canva and ChatGPT to help you speed this process along. And guess what? They're free. And they're extremely high profit margins, which we'll get onto in a sec. It allows you to do this anywhere. You just need a laptop, a smartphone, and an internet connection. And guess what? That's what we've got, right? So we can unlimitedly scale that, right? So if you've got a PDF file and that's your digital product, everyone in the world can own that. If I've got a million pieces of trainers. I need all of the storage, all of the distribution. I've got to get those to people, right? Can't really scale that as much more than the space or storage that I have allowed. But with a PDF file, I can do what the hell I like. It lives in the cloud. So they're extremely easy to create versus a physical product. You know, you do need to put your time and your knowledge into it. Yes, of course you do. But they are much easier to create and they can be developed, especially the smaller ones. So you're thinking like guides, cheat sheets, workbooks, ebooks, mini courses, workshops, online masterclasses, you know, even online events, online conferences. These are digital products. So there are so many different types of ones. And yes, some are harder to create than others, but they don't take up any space. And you can actually develop these in niches that you're already passionate about and get them to market quite quickly. And you can get like 95 to 97% margins. It's nuts, right? So what would I do? I would launch, we're going to get to this 10K. So I would hit 1,000 followers. I'd launch a low ticket digital product. So it'd be a beginner's guide to starting your business is a good place to start here. Something that's sweet and nimble, easy, that we can knock out in a weekend. Sell that for 27, 37 pounds, maybe 17 if it's depends what niche you're in. You know, always check the price that other people are paying. So when you're doing your research, what is going on in that space, and also make notes of all the products that people are selling and the prices that they're pricing things, because you don't want to come in super high and then some guy with a massive audience is just lowballing you and smashing it. And like, well, why am I going to pay the guy over here that's just started out more money? Doesn't make sense, right? So just be careful with how much you price things. But a low ticket digital product, you're not going to get much competition around this point. So, you know, charge what you think is worth, and you can always put it up. It's harder to put it down. Then I'd be following up with a higher ticket product. So I'd probably pick a problem within that course, and I'd probably create a bigger version of that into a mini course, something that's really easy. It can be written. It can be a bunch of videos that we knock out and we put them into, you know, step by step. This is what you do. If let's say you're building a food business, this could be, you know, lots of different food recipes that you include together. So it could be your summer food masterclass course, for example, barbecue masterclass course, for example. So these are the second phase of that product. You know, the beginner's guide to setting up your barbecue could be your barbecue, for example. So you see how I'm thinking here. Then the next phase is how to make X, Y, and Z type, how to put ribs, how to slow cook, how to do all of these things, how to smoke. You could include that and create a mini course around that. Then I would look to build a paid community. So for me, I'm going to be building out a beginner's guide to starting your own business. And then I'm going to build out launch strategies for your new business as my course. And then I'm going to build a paid community, £20 a month. And the reason being for that is monthly recurring revenue with these things is massively important. And then I could start to have interactions with people. I'd keep this on Discord, which is, again, free to use. And I'd do monthly workshops in there to add value. So I'd jump on, do different workshops, teaching people different things about the business. They get to chat to me on a daily basis. They message me on there. I can come back and help them one-on-one with their problems. Suddenly I'm seeing about more problems, which is then feeding into my content. And I'm creating lots more things as I go, right? Lots more allows me to write newsletters on the problems people are facing, and I'm helping people one-on-one. I'm growing that. And then what I could do immediately from there is add some coaching. So I could offer like £100 an hour. You know, depends on your niche. Some people it's going to be less. Also depends on your experience too. You know, I started offering coaching back in the day at like £40 an hour. And that's now gone up. Now I'm charging £150 an hour. So, you know, £100 an hour is, people will pay it if you are offering solutions to their problems, and often people want one-on-one coaching. So this is a brilliant revenue source when you're starting out. When you get to too much and it becomes too much, you phase this out. Because this can end up overtaking things. And actually the number one driver of your business is usually the content machine. So you do not want that to fall down. So unless you hire at that point and bring someone in to manage your content so you can do more coaching, it depends what you like doing. If you love coaching, do the coaching, and hire someone for the content. If you can't stand the coaching, and you love the content, you can always train someone up to deliver the coaching on your behalf. with your methods, your ideology, your way of thinking. So there's lots of different ways of that we can go about this, but I would add coaching in at this point and in line with the Ellard-King community. So this is just my product launch. So let's do this here. Okay. So I would launch this at 1,000 followers. So 1,000 followers around about 2 months in. Sorry for my terrible writing here. And then I'd follow this up with a higher ticket product, probably in month 3 or 4, depending on performance. Ideally month 3, because you want to try and build this up. I'd then launch a paid community around month 5 or to 6 and add coaching within that at exactly the same time. And then I'd look to add higher ticket to this. We will go through a growth program, a growth timeline of all of this. Higher ticket is where you can win here. And I'll show you why in a second, because you can charge 3 to 5K for, say, a 12-week program where they get a little bit more access to you. They get access to the community. They get all the courses. This is called the 3 C's, right? It's called coaching, course, community. When you add all 3 into the mix, so all of your products here, plus more access to you, you can offer this for a higher price with a program where you almost guarantee that you'll help them get the result at the end of it. You can charge an enormous amount of money for higher ticket. Some people charge extortionate amounts of money. I've seen Russell Brunson's mastermind for the year. He charges £50,000. So a good place to start is around about £3,000. Obviously make it valuable, make it worth your while and your time. And we do this when we've got a bit of a decent sized audience and we can start to show some results from helping people with these products and our own content. So here's what it looks like when you do it like this. And this is where it starts getting interesting. Okay. So if I was to sell one product at £17, so 10 sales a day would get me to £5,100, and 20 sales a day, I'd hit 10,000. So I've got to sell 20 of my £17 beginner's guide a day to hit 10 grand a month. Now it's doable because I'm doing that right now, but it's much harder if you start to release more expensive products at a £37 product, even the beginner's guide at £37 versus £17. The 10 sales a day, we hit £11,000. So that's half the amount of sales there. And then with 20 sales a day, we hit £22,000. So you start to see how this can become extremely profitable doing low ticket digital products. Now, if I put £100 product onto the market, I had 2 sales a day, I get 6K, and 4 sales, I hit 12K. So a lot less sales, but actually the content, if you target the right people, this shouldn't be a problem at all. If you're targeting the right people. So you just have to think about that, because this is where it gets interesting too. So even under our 3 grand of high ticket, 1 sale a week is your 10 grand a month. Could you sell a high ticket product to 1 person a week if your content was driving all of the inquiries for you? Think about that. 3 sales per week and you're at £30,000. So this is how these numbers that you see people on the internet start being possible. And think about this. If you match this high ticket product in with low ticket products, so the people that can't afford the high ticket, well, guess what? I've got a course at £100 and you can go and do that. And if you can't afford that, well, I've got the beginner's guide, or you're at the beginning. Here's my beginner's guide at £17. So you've got all different types of customers on different areas, and you're essentially able to then feed down into these and give them what they need based on what they can afford or what they're looking for. So this is the power of growing out what I call a value ladder. And a value ladder is essentially this. So this is our ladder. We start here, we move to this, and then we come in at the bottom. And this is where we start making hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, multi-millions a year, offering higher ticket offerings, more expensive courses. You can test things as you go, but this is where the opportunities are. So that's exactly how we would do this. And we can turn our products, so that £37 product that you saw, that beginner's guide, we can put affiliate links into it. And that £37 product becomes a £67 product, or it becomes a £197 product. Why? We use affiliate marketing, and it's very simple to do. People have already bought the product, so they've already bought into us, so they already know we've already bought into what we're saying. And simply put, it's where you promote and sell other companies or individuals' products for a commission. So that other person in your beginner's guide, if you don't have a course yet, sell someone else's course that does. That course might be £300. You might get 30% on it. Suddenly that's £90 you're earning just from that course. Think about it. If you sold 10 books and 2 people bought the courses, suddenly the value of your digital products are increasing. You could have smaller things on there. So Amazon is an amazing place to start. It's extremely lucrative. You're leveraging the trust of other people's bigger brands as well. So Instagram and TikTok are amazing for this. So in your digital products, you're upselling, but there's another strategy. So Instagram and TikTok are extremely powerful for this strategy. It's become an amazing revenue stream for me. And this is how I would do it. So I'd create content. We've all seen the comment the word X type posts out there. They're everywhere, right? So comment the word entrepreneur and I will send you some information that will help you out. You then use a DM automation tool called ManyChat. And within that, you then send them along to an affiliate link. As we were talking about earlier, we could literally 5x the revenue you get from a digital product too. So on that affiliate link, they go to that person, they buy that person's product on Amazon or that influencer's course or on, the Curry's washing machine, that new camera, whatever that is you sell, you then get the commission on that product, right? So this is how we level up. So we've got 2 revenue streams now. We've got our own digital products and we've got affiliate marketing. Then I would also start thinking about our newsletter as well. So we would utilize the same strategy. So we'd create a DM automation to also sign up to our newsletter. So create the piece of content, comment the word X, and we'll send you a free guide or we'll add you into a free 3-day email course, which you can set up and run very easily through ConvertKit. Or you create a PDF cheat sheet, which is called what's called a lead magnet. And it's kind of just a freebie. So utilize a freebie at that point, and that's how you get people onto your mailing list, and use exactly the same strategy from Instagram and TikTok to drive them off channel. This is where you can get hyper growth. And the reason being is that you can get tens of thousands of views on videos. You can get multi-millions. If you hit the million, if you go viral with a piece of content, your business transforms overnight. Trust me, I've been there and it's nuts. You wake up one morning and you're like, how on earth did I have, 5,000 followers this morning? Next morning I have 45,000 followers. And that can happen when you get a bit of viral content. And that's why it's important to continually feed the machine with content, but plus you also get better. You start looking, and this is why I said become a trend spotter, because you'll see what's going on in the space and you'll be like, oh, I'm going to try a little bit of that. I'm going to try a little bit of this. And then suddenly you're going to get one bit of outlier content. And this usually happens after 3 months. If you're at it every day, you'll go boom. And all of a sudden your business will change. So you can send your affiliate links in your newsletters as well. So you write a nice newsletter every Monday, for example, for entrepreneurs. It could be called Start the Week Well with Sammy, for example, just thinking of that off the cuff. And in there, I might say, this new piece of software, monday.com, helps me, organize my whole business, or it helps me set up my strategies, or this I'm using Miro is amazing for me doing presentations. You might say Canva's great. So there's lots of things you can add in there, and people start to take your advice and your recommendations. Obviously make it about a topic and then say, you feed it in a nice way. Don't be like, buy my thing. Please don't do that, because that's not the right way to do this. So how do we find the right affiliate partners? This is a really good thing. So we look for brands in your space that are offering products that are serving your audience already. So brands that are serving our audience already, going back to our target audience at the front. Who are the brands that are already doing really well? And this could be physical or digital products. Now, Amazon's amazing. You can just get started today signing up to that affiliate program, send your links out. to people that you know. And if people go and buy, and the good thing about Amazon is, let's say you send them to, I don't know, a £40 product, you know how crazy Amazon is, right? They buy, that person then goes on and it says, oh yeah, would you also like this? And it's a £500 camera that they've had their eye on, right? If they then add that to the basket, you get commission for both things. So this is where it gets really interesting, especially around tech gear and more expensive products, because usually there's gadgets and things that get added onto it. So suddenly I've had it where someone's bought a £40 hardback book and then paid for a TV, which was like £1,500 TV, and I got the commission on the TV as well. Lovely day, right? But there are other places as well for brand marketplaces. So brands usually work with marketplaces like Rakuten, Impact, Awin. They've got literally thousands of brands listed in different niches. You'd be hard pressed not to find a brand in your niche usually listed on one of these selling some sort of products. It allows you to do that. Etsy's on there as well. So that, honestly, there's so many things you can make money from online. It is insane. So you 100% have to put affiliate marketing into your strategy when you're utilizing social media. It's honestly so powerful. And as long as you're providing good advice, good measured information, solving problems for people at scale, that's what you need to do. You become a problem solver at scale for your audience. You will 100% make money. Now, you can also go direct, but I would do this once you've built up a bit of traction and a few sales within the space. So, you know, you might want to think about this a little bit. Making sure that you're matching up the right partners is going to be important. When you go direct, they will kind of look at you and go, oh, well, he's only got 1,000 followers, so I'm not going to take him seriously. But when you've got 10,000 followers, that's when they start going, oh, okay, well, let's have a chat, right? And this is where you might get, let's say, £20 for that product on, if you're doing it through a marketplace like Impact, but you go direct and they say, oh no, we'll bump your Impact rating up to £25 per product. Suddenly, there's an extra 25% in every single sale that you've got just by having that conversation. Jump on LinkedIn, jump on Twitter, start to like create relationships with key people within those companies. And you'll naturally do that as you start to grow. And as our influence and following grows in the space, you will start to attract more opportunities. It's just how it works. Brands will start to come to you, but you can also start to reach out to them. Okay. This is what I was just saying here. LinkedIn, I would add people in marketing people. I'd add the CEOs and the brands in the space. I'd create relationships, introduce yourself. I would also create a small little media pack. Now mine is like 4 slides long. It doesn't have to be big, and I update it once a month and I put my figures in there. How many followers have I got? How many likes was my average likes last month across all my posts? How many comments did I get? How many followers have I got on this channel, that channel? Have an about me page. Who am I? Where's Sammy? What are my brand values? What does my brand stand for? And that is legit it. That's all they want to see. They don't want some massive 10, 12, 30 slide document. They just want short, sharp. Who the hell is this guy? What results is he getting? Now, brand deals is what happens when you start growing a little bit. When you kind of hit the 10K follower mark, they are extremely lucrative, but you are dealing with the brands. So the bigger you get, the more you get paid. It's really that simple. Now in finance, they range from about £1,000 to £6,000 per post, depending on the brand and depending on your size. So when I was around about 30,000 followers, I got a big brand come in and I had a £5,000 brand deal. It was my biggest one at the time, and it was nuts because that's half of our target right there. And that was in that 3-month period when I went from 5K to 100K followers, that was like month 1.5. So in 1.5 months, I nearly hit that 10K a month right there. So it's more than possible. So focus on the content and growing your channels if you want to work with brands, because they will naturally start to come to you. But you can't take every deal under the sun. Like, for example, I'm personal finance with Up the Gains Money. I'm not going to take some like random crypto guy or random crypto app that like reaches out, because my audience will be like, well, Sammy, like, why are you trying to sell us this stuff? Like, and then if you lose that trust and that relationship with your audience, you're in big trouble. So For me, if you have 10,000 followers, you can comfortably charge £500 to £700, depending on the niche. In most niches, this is kind of like a good little benchmark because you're creating a piece of content that's valuable for them, it's valuable for you, and it's decent amount of money, especially when you're growing. So the amount of time that it'll create you to do that, a lot of these videos can take 2-3 hours to create, maybe another hour back and forth with the brand. So half a day's work for that money, not bad at all, right? It's more than you're earning. Most of us are earning in day jobs, 9 to 5s, watching this video. So if you deliver on these and go the extra mile on the content, as they will keep coming back, brands come back. If the campaign bangs and your bit of content does well, they come back and they pay more. So just remember that. Okay. You also get invited to start speaking at events, both online and in person. These aren't for everyone, but I always bring a friend along and film myself for even more content. So you can leverage you're going to get paid for turning up to this. Can I bring my videographer? We'll send you some footage as well after. Just want to film my talk. The people you meet at these events end up becoming really valuable, loyal followers. They've met you. They've seen you in a room. And also usually there's a couple of brands in attendance, especially if you're at a conference or something like that. So it has 2 leverage points. So just consider this. It's nerve-wracking getting on stage and speaking. Even now I get absolute jitters when I do it, but it's a skill that you can learn. Again, use YouTube. And awards, once you have a bit of a following, actively start to apply and enter into awards. I've just been won Best Money Content Creator of the Year. And even just being nominated for an award, put that in your media pack. It's a trust signal. And if you win, sing it loud, sing it proud, as this builds trust with your audience and also for future brand deals. Okay. So here's our business now. Okay. So let's unpack this. Let's look at a little visual because, I like a little visual. We kind of want to understand how our business is going to run, and this is how it's going to run. Okay. So our business, we understand our audience. We're going back to phase 1 here. We understand the problems that they have. And then we create content around the problems across Instagram, TikTok, newsletter, and a podcast. I added a podcast to the mix here because essentially I'll show you why in a little while, because once I hit a certain point and I go full time, I'm going to start to leverage other channels because I want to try and speed things up and I want to try and make more content across multiple different variables. I see it very much as like people like learning and they like learning in different ways. So some people like reading, some people like watching videos, some people like audio. And if you're playing in those spaces, then it helps you grow your brand in different ways. Obviously, these all lead into products, which you can then sell. So other people's products and affiliates, your own products, digital products, public speaking, and brand deals. There are so many avenues you can go down. Now, the reason why online businesses are just like unbelievable is because like the cost of running them yourself is almost next to nothing versus running a big physical business with loads of staff. You don't need loads of staff. You don't need loads of fancy tech. You don't need like fancy camera gear, lighting, all of that jazz. That stuff comes later when you're making money. You can just use your iPhone and a ton of free software. So I use Canva Pro, and this does all of my design, presentations, branding, documents, coming up with logos, building my digital products out. Everything you can think of that's design related goes through Canva, and it is amazing. The free version is amazing. The paid version's like $12.99 a month. Highly worth it in my opinion, but also you can just, when you're starting out, utilize all the free versions you can get. Now, Stan Store is important. This is our storefront for social media. This is where we sell our digital products on. You can house your digital products on there. You can do, you can have different things going on, all your different links leading to different products, your mailing list, etc. on there. And it's very, very useful. I use system.io for my bigger courses and sales pages. There's a free version of this, but there is also a paid version too, which is around about £49 a month. I've upgraded only that recently. I ran a whole course launch, everything on there for free the first time around. Discord's free. It's just basically another version of WhatsApp essentially. ChatGPT AI is your AI assistant. Miro, which you're watching on right now, I can run my workshops on here. I can run presentations. I can create marketing presentations here, which I can share out with my teams or freelancers for jobs. I use Calendly for free for scheduling, so people can book in with me for one-on-one coaching. I can charge on there. I can do everything I need to for free. once you build out a few calendars, I pay about $10.99 now for Calendly, because I have multiple different calendars for different things that all sync up together to my Google Calendar or my email. I use Gmail, which, guess what, is free. And then I use DaVinci Resolve for all my editing, but you can also use CapCut, and that's free. Then once you start adding a podcast into the mix, then there are some costs that come into play. So recording your podcast, you could do it on Zoom, which again is free. And if you do it under 45 minutes, or it might have gone to 40 minutes now, who knows? But then Riverside FM for me, which is what I record everything on, because it's got AI editing on it. And also it's just very cool and quick, and you can send out invites from it. And it's a proper studio. That's £23 a month, super cheap. And Buzzsprout for actually hosting that. So that's where it will go. You upload your episode to Buzzsprout, you write the descriptions, for example, and then it will send it out to Spotify, it will send it out to Apple Podcasts, to Amazon, to Google Podcasts, lots and lots of other places as well. There's like over 30 places it lists it on, but Spotify and Apple were the biggest. But yeah, needed if you're going to run a podcast. So just think about that. And then on iPhone, I just have SIM only because I paid off my phone. I don't need to upgrade it. I've got an iPhone 13 Pro Max. This one here, right here. Hey. And that is it. I don't need anything else. And that's so I'm running, a 6-figure business for, at the moment, about 200 quid in costs. Could get I could easily get that down to £100. I could make do without all of these things. I just get the pro versions of them because they're a little bit better, and there's better templates and they're faster things and more of this and more of that. You'll slowly start to do that, but it's low cost and it's a fast moving business. We've got such low costs. Our margins are enormous, right? This is where the 95 to 97% margins come into play because of this. We're not spending tons of money running our business, and you really shouldn't be spending tons of money. If your costs are thousands of pounds a month in tech, you got an issue if you're running a business as lean as this. So just remember this. Okay. Next up, we need to look at scaling and optimizing. So how do we actually scale at this point? So we need to make sure we check what we're doing. So look at how well you're doing on Instagram and TikTok and your newsletter. Use data to find out what works best, when people like to engage, what they like. Look, at this point, you should know what's driving sales and what type of content is driving sales and what's not. If you put out a video and you make £300 from that video and the other video does 20 quid, you know that type of video is better than the other, right? So if you get 50,000 views and it sells a ton of product versus 1 million views and it does bugger all, then that's a big indicator to you of what is actually successful. Okay. So think about these things and use the information that you have to make your content better. So focus on these types of posts which actually drive engagement, because engagement is good as well. It doesn't always have to be about selling product. You should also be thinking about holistically trying to grow your audience base. Or if that post does really well and getting email subscribers, and this type of post is great for driving sales, then you run different content buckets. Remember our content buckets. So the content buckets might be good for different things that we identify there. So our content buckets is just different types of different subjects, essentially. Then we need to create more content. So by the 6 month time, if you've gone full time in your business by now, amazing. If you're not, but then thinking about planning ahead now. So you've got a lot more data to work with. You know what's working and what's not. So you should start planning ahead, scheduling your time as well to create better content, because when you come prepared, you usually create something a little bit better. Then reusing the good stuff. Now I like this because your best performing posts, you could then take them and then launch your Twitter with them, for example. You know they're going to do really well, so put them on different spaces, right? Anywhere that's got video at that point. You should be utilizing Instagram, TikTok and YouTube shorts anyway. If you're creating short form content, it's just kind of the way to go. Then you need to also perhaps think about getting some help on board. Are you going to hire some freelancers to help you with the editing load? Or are you going to create, help with your YouTube channel launch, for example, or something like that? I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I'm not a massive fan of agencies because they're never really bought into the mission. I go the freelancer route up until a certain point, and then I hire that person in-house, because then they are 100% working for me. Freelancers and agencies tend to be thinking clients next, clients, who's next. They're thinking about getting through your bit of work as fast as possible. Even though there's some, don't get me wrong, you get some fantastic work from agencies and freelancers. That's why they exist, right? But as you grow to a certain point, you want someone who's fully bought into your mission. Then you need to start thinking about new platforms, right? Oh, I'm going to put a recruit affiliate. So I didn't add that in there. But essentially, are you going to start your YouTube at this point? Are you going to add LinkedIn to the mix? Are you going to add Twitter? Start to think about this. This is how you scale, right? This is adding new things to the mix. You've proven your concept in one space. Now you can take it to the other. Recruit affiliates. Now, this is where you use affiliates, right? I didn't write this in here. It's like a little typo, but you can see the value in that you're having on one affiliate. So let's say you're doing 25 sales a month from this one affiliate partnership that you've got. There's a competitor in the space. You go over, you have a chat there. You say, I'm doing X, Y, and Z amount of numbers at the moment. Do you want a piece of the pie? I want this. I.e., let's say I'm getting paid £20 from this person. You might say, I want £30. And highly likely that's good for them, right? So they give you the £30. So you're just leveraging relationships now. It's no different to your audience as long as this isn't like the ultimate market leader and the other one's absolute terrible and you're just not going to sell any of that product if they're quite similar at this point. Start to weigh up and evaluate your time and what you can do. And these are the relationships that we've been building along the way in our business. Okay. So next up, I want to look at the kind of overall growth timeline. Okay. Because we've got this far. We've gotten really quite deep in this workshop. So I want you to see what the timeline should look like. Now, month number one, obviously we're finding our niche. We're going through our ikigai. We're going through our guides, our idea. We've got to have that one thing to focus on. We start to think about our content and creating an online presence. We set up our accounts. We make a list. We build a content strategy, and then we start to execute on it at the end of the month. And then month 2 and 3 is really about building an audience, and we want to start earning some money. So we start to post one time a day. We start to build a community with our followers and their messages. We create a very simple digital product. We run a simple launch sequence for that, a beginner's guide to X. We push it all across our social media that we've been building up. Once we've got 1,000 follower mark, we start to push people from Instagram, TikTok into our mailing list as well. We start sending weekly emails, guiding them back, maybe selling more of our products, maybe selling our affiliate links. We need to start thinking about that, but also creating we provide value at scale and solve enough problems for our audience, and you will make money. It's very, very simple. We need to expand our reach and more sales in month 4. We want to try and hit that 3K a month at this point. This is where you could look to start a YouTube channel or a podcast, but we really want to kind of stay dialed in on social media and our newsletter at this point. It very much depends on how much time you've got. So just remember our time evaluation at the start. That is massively, massively important. So don't add anything to the mix. If this isn't singing and working at this point, you need to just make sure you're doubling back down and going back down. And are you targeting the right people? Are you speaking directly to one person? That's what I do. I speak directly to Sarah, the entrepreneur. Remember her from earlier? So we then want to perhaps launch if we've got everything going. By the way, you're not moving on to this until you've got this right. Okay. Until you've got this right and everything is singing, you're not going on to this. So yes, this might look a little bit different for you and you might get a little bit more of a hockey stick type of growth, or you might just have straight linear growth with your social media. It varies. Some people take longer to pick things up, and that's totally fine. As long as you keep working at it, there's going to be hurdles along the way. And that's why Ikigai is so important, because when you've got your purpose in life, you love it. So the hurdles don't matter for you. Learning your hurdles is fun. It should feel like playing Xbox. It should feel like, having the time of your life at a gig. Like, this is what this should feel like for you. So these type of hurdles are just things that happen. And if timeframes are a little bit different, that's cool. But everything's going to plan. We want to launch a little bit of a mid-tier digital product, 67. That's kind of that mini course range, perhaps an online workshop series or something along that. And we can promote that. We can go live on Instagram. We could do little workshop webinars, which is just a fancy name for free training, or an online workshop, which then sells more of our products for us. So we might do how to start your own business workshop. And at the end of it, we've got our guide or our course available, for example. We want to promote lots more products as well for commission. We want to put our affiliate links inside of our digital products and inside of our posts and inside of our emails. So we're leveraging affiliate marketing to the best of its ability. This is where we really start to scale up. And then perhaps we look at the paid Discord community as well. This isn't going to be the same for everybody. You could just do all of this. You don't need to do all of this, by the way. You could just do one or the two of these things very, very well, and you'll be absolutely fine. And you will get there 110%. So I would create the paid Discord community at this point and start adding these things. This is where I offer the 3 C's, the coaching, course, and community aspect of things. And then at month 6 to 9, this is where we really start to scale up. We want to start testing our landing pages, testing our emails, really going deep into the data like we were just talking about. We might use ads to bring visitors back. That's something that you potentially look in at this point. Can you scale with paid ads at this point? So people that are interacting with your social media, can you start retargeting them with ads? People that clicked on your product page, can you then target again if they didn't buy? These are all things that you can do at this point to try and bring in more sales. As long as you're spending less in your ads than your sales, then 110% big tick. You can scale that up. This is a fantastic way to get to the 10K a month if you can get this right. But if you get it wrong, it can go horribly wrong and you blow all your budget. So just be careful. Make sure you understand what you're doing when you get into paid ads. Automate tasks. So use tools to schedule posts out. So pre-plan and batch your content. Do your emails up front. So you're working in front. So I always try to work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos ahead. So I'm never posting the video that I made that day. I made that video 3, 4 days ago and I'm moving ahead. I'm always thinking 2 steps ahead. Start playing 3D chess with your business, but you won't get there straight away. At first, you're just going to be like, I made the video, get the video out, make the video, get the video out. And that's fine. But as you start to grow, you're going to start thinking in 2, 3, 4 steps along the line. So this is really, really important at this point. So then we might decide to add in a premium course or a community or high ticket coaching offer. We can promote that through webinars and emails and even our social media at that point too. But it's a lot harder to sell that. So you need to get them often onto sales calls and you try and sell them the package. Now it's important that you showcase that you can actually do with the thing that you're doing. This isn't for everyone, and you can do all of this and get to 10K without adding this in. But if you are an expert in your field or a medium level expert teaching low level people stuff, you can make a lot of money, and this will get you 10K or a lot more. This is how you get the 50, 60K months in straight away. You might get to this point if you're starting as a beginner today in 2, 3 years time, and that's totally fine. But just have a think about the high ticket offers. High ticket offers, the more, as we went back into the revenue breakdown, you sell 1 2.5 grand package a week is 10 grand right there. Okay. So just think about that. Pricing's important. And make sure you keep things up, keep consistent. Don't drop the ball. If you drop the ball a little bit, jump back on. It's totally fine if you have a couple of days off here and there. And if you're going on holiday, then batch through your content before and schedule it on the channels. Instagram has an inbuilt scheduler now, and you won't miss a beat if you're thinking 3 steps ahead. This 3D chess at this point, right? So month 9 and 12, this is where we start to maximize the revenue and get to the 10K a month. Some people hit it a lot earlier than this. I hit it in the 3 months period, so it's more than possible. And this is, we're expanding our product line at this point. We're delivering courses and ebooks, memberships. We're looking at other things. What can we do? Can we throw in-person events? Can we offer workshops? We've got coaching on board. We've got the community going. Can we drive the community into other things? We've got brand deals coming in at this point. We've got the media kit to showcase the influence, and we're just improving and refining and getting better and better and better. If you did something every day for 9 months, you're going to be pretty damn good at it. Okay. So we got to stay up to date. We just keep going at this point. So my big growth tips for all of this is start small, think big. Think big. That's the 10K. We're thinking big, but we've got to start small. We've got to start in baby steps. Work yourself backwards. What I tend to do is I make 5 big steps. So at the step 5 is 10K. And then I start with step 1 is basically the goal that I've got to get to. And then I make 3 smaller steps underneath step 1. And step 1, so essentially we end up with 15 steps, right? So step 1 should be pretty easy for you to deliver in the next 1 to 2 weeks. Then step 2, you can deliver that in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Step 5, you can do that 5 to 6 weeks, because then you're just focusing in on one goal. Because if you look up and go, I've got to do 10 grand, that's pretty daunting for a lot of people. But just getting that one thing done in the next 1 to 2 weeks isn't. So do that exercise. Write out 5 steps for you to get to the 10 grand, the 5 big steps that you need to go through, and then write 3 smaller steps for each step. So you can move up the value chain, knocking off things as you go along. It's massively, massively helpful. Then you need to plan ahead and think in month moves rather than daily. Okay. So this is like massive for me. If you 3G chess, we've just been talking about it. Consistency is everything. So just make sure you keep it up. There's going to be hurdles. Things aren't going to go your way. You might not fly off the handle in the first 2-3 months. You might be month 4, month 5, you experience the bigger growth. Might be month 7. It could happen, but then all of a sudden, month 8, month 9, astronomical growth. Okay. So that not everybody's journey is going to be the same, but if you stay consistent and you keep along the path and keep along the mission, because remember, Ikigai is your purpose in life. This is where it gets important. Systemize everything. Once something works and you've got things going, build yourself templates, build yourself brand packs, build yourself email scripts, etc. Keep those in your Google Drive, which is free, and make sure you've got systems in place that you know that you're going to deliver to save yourself time, get yourself moving faster, and it allows you to much more output and also higher quality too, because you stop thinking about the tiny little things because they're already done. Consider outsourcing tasks such as editing to help with scale. Can help, but I'm a big fan of getting things right myself first, and then I will move on to the next thing. Now, give it time. Not everything happens when you want it to. We just discussed that. It's massively important, and you get out what you put in. Okay, put the effort in. You will get something out of this. 110%. That's the big one for me. Now, what's next? Okay, so if you want to learn a little bit more, hit the description in the link below and check out my case study video with a client of mine, Daniel Green, who we took from 0 to 5K a month in under 100 days using social media and digital products. Very similar model to this and how we've just built out this whole business. But make sure you've liked this video and subscribed. I've had a lot of fun here with you guys. And if you have any questions at all along the way, just pop them in the chat below. I am here to help. And thanks very much. And we'll see you on the case study video. Take care, guys.